Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today in this important conversation for empowering you through education for crime prevention and anti-corruption. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this side event organized by International Association of Youth and Students for Peace, Europe and Middle East, and supported by Universal Peace Federation and Women Federation for World Peace. I am Professor Ejona Icka, and I'm honored to moderate today's discussion. At YSP, we believe that every young person has the potential to create a positive change. This is why, through our work, we support the young people with knowledge, skills, and opportunities that they need to grow as leaders in their communities. And we are convinced that if they're empowered as a leader, they can help build more peaceful communities. We are happy to be joined today by leading experts and inspiring young leaders who will share from their experiences and recommendations for this important topic. And then we have our amazing first speaker. I would love to invite and begin with Viktorija Nesterovaite. Viktorija is an Associate Crime Prevention and Criminal Justice Officer in the Civil Society Unit at UNODC. She has more than 10 years of experience with the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crimes, where she manages governance and civil society initiatives, including projects in the Western Balkan region, where I come from. Please, let's welcome Viktorija.
Thank you. A very kind introduction. I'm delighted to be here. Very warm welcome to all of you. Maybe let me start with a personal observation. Over these aforementioned 10 years, I've had the honor and the privilege of sitting on panels, moderating some panels, putting together events, and sharing the room with senior level officials, with practitioners that translate policy into action. But also I sat in rooms with young people, with the young politicians, young delegates, youth-led organizations. Just the other day we had a group of PhD students from the University of Milan. We exchanged with them ideas on the topics of good governance and anti-corruption. And in those times when I have the privilege of moderating, sometimes I like to test the pulse of the room. So I asked the audience, participants, to think of a word that they would use to describe the fight against corruption. And you know, in the settings where we have more senior people, more mature, be it in age, be it in their career, the words I often hear, they're like challenging, difficult, endless. And then when I address the same question to a younger crowd, a bit of a different vocabulary emerges. The other day I heard words like meaningful and collective or reform. It's a very simple thing, but we have to acknowledge that generations speak a bit of a different language. And this difference matters. We have to listen to young people, what they say, to understand the problem, but also to find a solution and address the possibility of change. I'm very glad that today's event is focusing on the topics of anti-corruption education, on civil society engagement, on working with young people. As Ejona mentioned, I work for the Civil Society Unit of UNODC, which principally facilitates civil society participation into the work of the UN. At this commission, we have over 600 individuals registered to follow, to participate, to engage. And this is actually a record number, triple the amount compared to last year. So we see that there is an increasing interest from civil society organizations and youth-led organizations, organizations working on these topics to engage with member states in this regard. And undoubtedly, anti-corruption education is one of the most powerful tools to building societies that are inclusive and that are resilient. Young people, we see when they're equipped not only with knowledge, but skills, and then ownership, collective responsibility, they become agents of change and drive that positive change. Beyond supporting NGOs in what we call normative process, we also work to plug them into different UNODC activities happening on the ground at the local level, regional level, and we also work very much globally. And in this area, we work very closely with corruption and financial crime branch. I see a couple of colleagues in the room. It's under this branch we are leading and implementing an initiative called GRACE. Some of you educators in particular may have heard of it. It stands for Global Resources for Anti-Corruption Education and Youth Empowerment. So basically coordination, multi-stakeholder cooperation, and capacity building are at the core of our work here at UNODC. And I mentioned the importance of ownership, and these days I see is one of the most important principles in our line of work, this fostering ownership among young people. We live in a fast-paced world, and we see that young people don't just want to be beneficiaries of our projects. They want to be part of it. They want to drive change. They want to shape solutions. So we therefore view young people not only as beneficiaries, but also as partners, as change makers. And how we do it, we engage them through mechanisms like a youth-led board or an anti-corruption advocates initiative where we empower young people, we give incentives to become advocates, messengers in their respective communities. We also empower youth by engaging them directly in the development of our tools and resources and publications. A good example is a 10-step guide we developed for young people, developed by young people, on how to shape up a good and effective anti-corruption program. This approach is very important because we see young people are likely to engage with messages that they resonate with them. And above all, we also see that such work has to have a component of interactivity, of even fun at times. So we organize hackathons, we organize essay writing competitions, a lot of interactive challenges. And now comes another part I would like to highlight, that we see that at the same time youth-led work cannot be as effective if it's not complemented by the systematic efforts at the national level. And hence the importance of institutionalizing anti-corruption education. And this requires really plugging in the topic at different levels, from kindergarten through to primary, all the way to the university levels. Or, when it's not possible, teaching the topic as a cross-cutting matter on ethics, citizenship, education, social studies, and related subjects. Equally important is investing in teachers. We want to educate future generations, but we also have to equip those that are teaching. And UNODC is supporting these efforts very broadly at different levels through, for example, modules that are available on the aforementioned GRACE initiatives portal. There are a number of anti-corruption modules that can be taken, translated, adapted to local context. So there are ample tools and resources available from our end to contribute and participate. Now, for those that are more interested in engaging with us a bit more actively, you can, as mentioned, follow the work of the GRACE initiative. You can be in contact with our people working on the ground in your respective countries, in your respective regions. We also work through partnerships with civil society umbrella networks. For example, on crime-related matters, we partner with the Crime Prevention Alliance on Crime Prevention and Criminal Justice. Ejona, you're aware of it, you're part of it. So that's a good entry point into the work of peers on the topics and also to be abreast with what's happening at UNODC. Lastly, and I will be concluding here, I just want to say that some perceive anti-corruption education as endless, as a tiring effort. Others, for the others, it's a collective effort, but it's really, it's anti-corruption education what brings different perspectives under one roof and helps us turn just awareness into concrete action and concrete engagement. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Viktorija, for your important information that you shared with us for the work of UNODC. And yeah, it's true, actually, working in the field, you can see that most of people, they think that it's endless the work with anti-corruption, but then when you work with young people, they have hope and they are motivated. So thank you for all the work that you are doing, especially in the Balkan region. Okay, let's move on now, and our next speaker is Ms. Amra Azizi. Amra is a YSP coordinator for YSP in North Macedonia. She is a law graduate and currently pursuing a master's degree in criminal law at the University of Tetova. Her work combines academic interest in justice and law with active youth engagement in peace-building initiatives. She is passionate about youth empowerment and ethical leadership. Let's welcome Amra.
Thank you. Nelson Mandela said something very great about education. He said, "Education is the greatest weapon you can use to change the world." And that's exactly what we are trying to do with YSP. Through education, we want to empower young people to be peace builders and change makers. Dear panelists, dear moderator, distinguished guests, I'm Amra Azizi, as Professor Ejona mentioned. I'm YSP Programs Coordinator for North Macedonia. I'm so happy to be here today and to share with you the work IAYSP Europe and Middle East does. I also have a presentation. Okay. IAYSP Europe and Middle East in 2022 was granted a special consultative status with the Economic and Social Council of the United Nations. IAYSP Europe and Middle East is present in 16 chapters across Europe and Middle East. With IAYSP, we organize youth forums, UN conferences, assemblies, and also peace designer trainings. Our vision. IAYSP's vision is a world full of young people doing great things with true love. We want to connect people and youth especially with shared mutual respect and shared values. That's our vision. Meanwhile, the mission is advancing the world peace through empowering the student. And with education, we believe that we can achieve this in great ways. What we do in Europe and Middle East. Across Europe and the Middle East, IAYSP focuses on strengthening youth engagement through peace education and non-formal learning, youth leadership development and capacity building, intercultural and interreligious dialogue, and the promotion of civic engagement and democratic participation. Our work equips youth with skills, values, and platforms needed to act responsibly and effectively in their societies. So we aim to make young people act with responsibility in integrity with whatever they do. You can be a president, you can be a lawyer, you can be a doctor, but first of all, you have to be a good human being. You have to have integrity, and I think if we have integrity, we have choose many problems, or we have prevent many problems from happening. When you think about anti-corruption or crime prevention, I think integrity and values are the most important thing we can cultivate to young people. peace designer trainings. We organize peace designer training. They have regional reach and impact. It is a value-based leadership program. 10 countries are actively implementing peace designer training. More than 397 youth trained across the region. We have partnership with universities and cross-border youth cooperation. These are some of the moments during peace designer trainings in different countries around Europe and Middle East. This is Synergy Assembly. Young people, they design peace designer projects, they give their ideas, they make them projects, and then they present these ideas in Synergy Assemblies. After it comes the implementation of the projects. These are some of the projects we have done, and I would like to talk about one of them. It was anti-corruption education project. My colleague, also from University of Tetova, he thought about doing something to prevent corruption, because as we all know, in Balkans, also in North Macedonia, where I do come from, corruption and the rule of law are two main problems there. And so he thought about working on anti-corruption education. Most of the important things, he wanted to work on the primary school where he actually studied at when he was a children. Through workshop, different games, he tried to teach young persons that integrity is the most important asset you can have in your life, and through games you will only get the things you deserve, and then you will be happy. If you get the things that you don't deserve, you won't be ahead in your life. Through simple games, but a very powerful message, because it's easier to work with children aged 10 to age 14 and to cultivate in them the feeling to work for their nation, for their country, for their community, to work on crime prevention, to work on anti-corruption, than to teach somebody who is 40 or maybe 35, yeah, you don't have to be part of corruption. It's much more harder. So working with young people, especially with children in this dimension, it's really impactful. We also host international forums. We were part of international forums here at the UN. In 2023, it was my first time coming here at the international forum. It was a great opportunity, so I highly encourage young people to be part of IAYSP and to be part of these kind of forums, side events and projects. IAYSP EUME realized 3+ Erasmus projects such as Innovate Peace, Youth Democracy and Digital Advocacy Program, and A Peace to Share. How we work? Our work is carried out through youth-led chapters and organizational structures. We also cooperate with institutions, university and civil society actors. Chapters play a central role in advancing their YSP's mission. They translate the global vision into local action, engage young people directly within their communities, build sustainable and context-specific impact, and represent IAYSP values at national and local levels. Strong chapters are essential to ensuring lasting regional impact. As a quote says, think globally, act locally. Some key initiatives. We worked on initiatives such as environment protection, through other initiatives, and then on anti-corruption education and many others initiatives. From Austria, UK, Germany, Hungary, Czech Republic, Lebanon, Moldova, Romania, Kosovo, and beyond. We also organized a summit, Balkan International Youth Summit for Peace in 2025. In that summit, organized in Mitrovica, our slogan was "The world meets in Mitrovica." As you know, in Mitrovica there are tensions between Albanians and Serbs, and we organized this summit to like a call for peace, because young generations, they don't want to be part of wars, of crimes, of corruptions. They just want peace and educational development and only these things. So the summit was the best way to have a call for this. We also realized Peace Cup in Prague 2025. More than 130 young people were part of that. They worked with passion, with empathy, with emotions. Our commitment, IAYSP is committed to promoting youth leadership grounded in responsibility, advancing peace through concrete actions, fostering dialogue across cultural, social and ideological differences, and upholding integrity and accountability in all its work. These principles guide our approach and define our organizational structure. I would like to sum up my presentation with a quote that Pythagoras said. He said, "Educate the children if you don't want to punish the men in the future." So education is the key. Thank you.
Thank you, Amra. Thank you for everything and your work in North Macedonia, because I know how hard you work there. And for all the young people here in the room, we have the second editions of all events that Amra introduced, so please reach us later if you are interested to join. Okay, let's move on to our next speaker. It's Mr. Hussein Adelia. Hussein is a communication and advocacy professional from Nigeria who has spent more than 6 years working on governance, accountability, youth engagement, and anti-corruption initiatives. Today, he will share practical lessons from community-based prevention initiatives in Nigeria. Please, let's welcome Hussein.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hussein Adeleye, and I work with the African Network for Environment and Economic Justice. It's a civil society organization in Nigeria. So, first of all, it's my pleasure to be part of this important conversation on youth, anti-corruption, and crime prevention. It is, and I would like to especially thank the organizers for giving me this platform to share some of the work we've been doing in my organization, and also the strategies we've implemented and the projects we've implemented as well. Today I'll be sharing insights from ANIJ, that is my organization, the African Network for Environment and Economic Justice. That's a mouthful. It's too long, so we just use the acronym ANIJ. So you hear me mention ANIJ throughout this presentation. So yes. So I'll be sharing ANIJ community-based prevention initiatives in Nigeria, and the impactful work we've done on crime prevention. Thank you. I'm a bit parched. Okay. So the African Network for Environment and Economic Justice is a non-government organization whose goal is to amplify the voices of the weak, the less privileged, and the marginalized group in the society, including women, youth, and people living with disabilities, in order to increase their participation in the democratic decision-making process. Specifically, ANIJ implements projects relating to governance and democracy, human rights, anti-corruption, peace building, conflict resolution. Basically, from the name, we have two broad focal points. We operate on environmental justice, where we advocate for polluters, where we hold polluters accountable to environmental degradation in the Niger Delta, in different parts of Nigeria where oil is being explored, and we also have another focus, another broad focus, which is on economic justice. Here we talk about anti-corruption initiatives, we talk about social protection initiatives, advancing social protection work globally and regionally and nationally. So this is our vision. Our vision is an Africa without poverty. It sounds very, 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 it sounds impossible, but it is possible. And that is why it's our vision, because we're going to make it work. So our thematic focus is on governance and anti-corruption, climate and environmental justice, AIDS and development, and migration and global programs. These are just some of the thematic focus we operate on. Okay, but today I would talk more on our community-based crime prevention initiatives. So as it concerns the youth. So the youths make up a significant and growing share of the population. This we all know very well. And we are faced with, I say we because I'm part of them, and we are faced with different structural challenges, from access to education, unemployment, low skill, low civic education, and political participation. These are all the realities that we face today, and these challenges that we face, they also contribute to different levels of vulnerability. They contribute to poverty, and poverty contributes to this vulnerability. So I've drawn, there is an infograph on the right side which shows the interrelatedness of poverty, vulnerability, and crime risk, and how they all feed into each other. So, and as a result, because of poverty in the long run, poverty is one of the main issues why many youths engage in criminal activities, because they see no other alternative pathway than engaging in crime. Crime is there, crime is easy, you know, but it's not as easy as they think. So I would like to ask a quick question. I would like to ask, in the face of this rising youth vulnerability and crime risk, where do you think we should invest more? We can just chorus the answer. Where do you think we should invest more? Should we strengthen the prevention approach, or should we expand the enforcement? Should we clamp down on crime more? Or should we build institutions and frameworks that prevent people from going into crime in the first place? Which do you think is more sustainable? Education. Are you sure? Aha. So, our experience suggests that while enforcement is necessary, prevention offers a more sustainable approach. When young people are equipped with the right skills, the right support systems, they are not lured into engaging in criminal activities because they already have businesses, they already have things to do, their hands are full. And here is a picture of some of the target beneficiaries that we have helped. You can see, but we'll go into details. I really like the picture, so I put it there. So, our approach. Our global framework recognizes education, youth empowerment as key to crime prevention and anti-corruption. However, key implementation gaps remains. And what are these implementation gaps? First of all, limited youth-focused prevention strategies, as most interventions in Nigeria are reactive. We have more. Let's strengthen our law enforcement. Let's do this. Let's give the police more vans. Let's build more prisons than we actually have preventive strategies in Nigeria, and that is a very big problem because it's like we are just waiting for the crime to happen rather than address the major problems that exacerbate this this crime proliferation, or this youth proliferation in crime, rather. Okay. So we also identified weak community level structures. There is no structure within the community that can support vulnerable youth. There is no framework. There is no community structure that can support this framework. So that is one of the problems that we are having. Then we have insufficient support for vulnerable youths. In response, ANIJ, which is the organization I'm working with, is implementing initiatives that addresses these gaps. These initiatives apply a prevent approach focused on strengthening resilience through education and skill, engaging communities and institutions to prevent in prevention efforts, and providing alternative pathways for vulnerable youths. So we are implementing two projects focused on enhancing youth resilience to crime. One is the Brighter Futures project, which is being implemented in partnership with TAG International, with the financial support of the UK Home Office. And we have the Addressing Human Trafficking Through Empowerment with Income-Generating Skills. Because one of the primary causes of youth engagement in crime is poverty. It's because they have no other option. They see no other option than crime. So we are of the opinion that if we can address that poverty factor, we would disengage them from criminal activity. So, introducing the first project, the Brighter Futures project. The Brighter Future program is a project using the prevent concept of providing meaningful alternative pathway to youths most likely to join crime, to divert and disengage them from involving in serious and organized crime. So basically, we, through the help of the community structure that we established, we identify youths that have this tendency to join criminal activity, and we catch them young. We catch them before they fully integrate into that system, because once they integrate into that system, it becomes very difficult for them to disengage, because, well, for a lot of reasons. So this project is implemented in Nigeria through a partnership between UK Home Office, through TAG International, and civil society organizations. It's delivered across 4 states in Nigeria, and ANIJ led the implementation in 2 states, Edo State and Bayelsa State. It's not working. Okay. So, I mentioned the prevent approach, the prevent concept, the prevent model. What is the prevent model? So, the first thing we did was to identify the roles of communities, community leaders, the community people, the people themselves in this framework, in this model. We identified, we noted that if anybody is going to know whether a youth is going to join crime or not, whether a youth has this tendency of engaging in criminal activity, it would be the family, it would be the first agent of socialization, which is the community, the family. So we thought it imperative to bring them in, to create this framework that allows them identify and monitor the target beneficiaries. So we created the Crime Prevention Steering Group at the state level. Then we created the Crime Prevention Partnership at the community level. Membership includes the local police, the security networks, the community leaders, the community elders. So they all had a say in who would be identified, and these are their roles. They clearly identified and mapped targets, target beneficiaries. The CPSG analyzed the SOC environment and told us which crime was more prevalent in that community, whether it was serious and organized crime, whether it was human trafficking, whether it was drug abuse, whether it was, different types of serious and organized crimes. So the crime prevention module. So we have different intervention programs that we implement in the course of implementing this project. We have resilience training sessions where we train youths on how to disengage from crime. We train them on crime prevention methods, how to build their self-esteem, how to say no to bad friends, to bad peer pressure. Then the second arm of the work we do is skill acquisition and vocational training. You know, teaching them about crime prevention isn't enough. You know, they say you teach a man how to fish, and then he will be a fisherman or something. I don't know. Sorry. So, but something like that, something along that line. But in this present age, we see that teaching them how to fish isn't enough. You can't come here and tell them crime is bad, don't engage in crime, and they are sleeping on an empty stomach. It doesn't work. Sooner or later, they will be, because they have families to cater for, they have food, they are hungry. So we also, so in as much as building their resilience is good, we still provide vocational skills training. What do you want to do? Some say they want to become auto mechanic, but we'll go into that. We'll go into that very soon. Yes, suspense. So then we train them on entrepreneurship, business training sessions. We have digital training sessions. Then we also have sensitization campaigns where we do road walks, rally. We go to popular marketplaces where a lot of youth are known to frequent, and we raise awareness on crime prevention and help build their resilience to crime. Then we have recreational activities such as sports. We create football competition, chess competition, you know, across states to get them talking to each other, to get them engaging with each other, and to also see this team bond that is not instigated by crime, that is not associated with crime. These are some of the target beneficiaries. We had some target beneficiaries go through baking trainings where they came out with amazing pastries. We have that young guy on the left side, he trained to be an electrician. So he's now a local electrician with his shop. And then we have hairstylists. Then we have different crime corps. Like I told you, we organize different competitions: Scrabble, chess, football competition, and this is cyber crime training, digital training that I mentioned. This is the sensitization campaign that I mentioned that involved sports. You know, we even gave cash prizes to the winners and the losers as well. This is supposed to be a video of a testimonial of one of our target beneficiaries, but it didn't play, so sad. So moving on, the key results. We achieved a lot of, like I said, the project was very impactful. We achieved a lot of key results. First was we established the framework that is now being used by the state government in implementing their crime prevention initiatives as it concerns vocational skills and youth intervention in vocational skills. So we helped establish that framework. We have empowered over 1,300 vulnerable youths aged 13 to 40. They were diverted from pathways into organized crime through structured education and empowerment interventions. So then I mentioned this resource mobilization. Because of time, I'm just going to breeze through all this. I hope that's fine. In terms of resource mobilization, the organization, outside the project budget, we also gave part of, we also donated to the cause. We also helped implement some trainings, some initiatives, some stipends that we gave target beneficiaries. In Bayelsa State, when Nigeria was riddled, when Nigeria was plagued with a flood in different parts of the country, we also provided relief materials to some of these target beneficiaries that were affected by the flood. Okay. I've just been told I have 1 more minute. I had a lot more to say. We've adapted this structure of community-based intervention to address multiple crimes, to address multiple issues in the country. We have used this same model. We have replicated this same model to implement different projects targeted towards youth intervention, towards crime prevention. And these were the lessons that we learned. We learned that economic empowerment and awareness is essential in reducing vulnerability to human trafficking and irregular migration and other forms of serious and organized crime. We learned that strong community involvement improves monitoring, accountability, and sustainability. We also learned that flexible and adaptive implementation is critical in fragile and changing environments. So this is what we can learn from these projects these initiatives that I've tried to explain. Prevention is most effective when youths are engaged early before exposure to criminal networks. Education must be practical. It must combine skill development, resilience, and life skills, and awareness of risks. Community-based structures are critical in identifying vulnerable youths and sustaining engagement and accountability. Institutional coordination among government, civil society organizations, and local actors strengthens impact. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Hussein.
Yeah.
Believe me, I would love to listen to all your projects, but we are running out of time, and we have 2 more speakers to go. And I would love now to invite our next speaker, Professor Dr. Li Ying Zhu. Dr. Zhu is a well-known expert in sports psychiatry and athlete mental health. She studied and worked in China, Austria, and United States, with international experts in psychology and medicine. She has worked at University of Vienna and Hong Kong Baptist University. Dr. Zhu has written 22 international books on sport psychology and mental health. She also leads important work with International Olympic Committee on athlete mental health and helped promote mental health sports support in sports organization worldwide and youth development. Please, let's welcome Dr. Zhu.
Thank you. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much for inviting me to participate in this special meeting. And today, I'm also aware the college was talking about sport as a intervention method. So now we just go a little bit deeper into sport. So let us start. The time is very tight. This one presentation a little bit longer, but I will going a little bit faster. So okay, this one okay. So for now we present an organization they called OPA program. OPA is not means growth factor, it means Olympic Psychic Alliance. So OPA. And we are working based on this paper. This paper called Mental Health in Elite Athletes from International Olympic Committee. So this was work we started 2014. And then the consensus meeting was held in 2018 in Lausanne in Switzerland. So now our work is post of this work. Even though we spend a lot of time for this, but now we pay attention. At first, I want to show you some code fact. It's doping is a criminal, but for suicide, is also a criminal. So now, actually, I have updated new data, but now they're not showing here. Just 3 days ago, there are one American NFL, American football athlete have committed suicide 3 days ago. But this one is from last year. I updated, but today I think I have some problem with the new data. Yeah, but so I show you the picture is not there, but I show you after also. Oh yeah, this one. Yeah, NHL great Claudia Lamix. So he has also committed suicide just several days before. Yeah, where this happened all the time. And also the next one, he also make a suicide. And I cannot show you everyone, but you see this is 2025. I presented in Malaysia, that is the new data at that time. It's all suicide athlete. And he is this one is, when I'm teaching, I always show my students that he is very special because he has leave a suicide code and to his family that he said, please, I will use my gun to shooting myself, my chest, to shooting on my chest. Please keep my mind, keep my head better or good, and please send my head to the doctor, to the Boston University, and ask them why I don't want to live anymore. And he the first one to commit suicide like this. But after, every year, there are one copy his behavior. Every year. So that's the reason. And he also saw he's copying his behavior. He shooting his chest and keep the head bow to the medical doctor. What happened? So there are more than too much. I cannot show you. It's really, every time when I'm working on this, it's very sad. And 2017, before the consensus meeting, I have write 8 different papers to the International Olympic Committee, and 4 of them are suicide case studies. The first one is this NFL, American football athlete. The second one is a fighting sport. The third one is soccer. The last one is an athlete who has qualified for the Olympic game, and post-Olympic game they commit suicide. So I present this full data to the International Olympic Committee. Certainly also another academic papers, and then 1 year after we have opened the consensus meeting in Lausanne. So the suicide is really more than too much. I cannot show you. It's everyone is alive. So the one special experience on the consensus meeting, I want to introduce you also Dr. Alan Sales. He is the chief doctor from NFL, American Football League. He's just sitting beside me. And then one of our meeting, also there are 20 people from all the world. One of the presenter who is Claudia, and she wants to present psychopharmacology to the athlete. And he is very exciting. And we are discussing on this. He's standing up, very angry, and ask her, Claudia, you want our athlete take drugs, psychopharmaca? Very angrily. Why? Because they are legal. Every year they have maybe 5 times to go to bury. So they experience this problem much more stronger than every another events. So now there are some scientific work about the CTE. I think my time is limited. I will not present too much. Yeah. So 5 minutes already, and this is just. For short, I'm working with Olympic athlete, with Russia tennis athlete, the Anna, and also working with American fencing team. So it's my work. And also I was teaching a Chinese champion class, also the down pictures. And that one is on the left side is, I think the people know his name. The swimmer, the great swimmer, Michael Phelps. And what is on his body? This is a cupping. The point, the body, you know, the red point. That is a cupping print. And he present, that time is 2016 in Rio Olympic game. Yeah. So what I want to show you, continually. So this is another 20 years old. They all have a head injury, commit suicide. So I cannot show you. This is more than too much. Fighting sport. Yeah. So that is a problem. That is a problem. So what we can do now, the world is already developing very fast. They say, okay, we recognize, because this topic was taboo before. Nobody talking about this. They say, only one athlete commit suicide, no problem. Yeah, it's just extreme, but it's not extreme. It's not the truth. So now we have this consensus meeting already. The world recognize that professional athlete has committed suicide problem. So now the OPA program has some very special development program they called curriculum, and this is new curriculum is our education program. And this education is very special and focus on the 189 countries who want to put their the mental health in their National Olympic Committee works. So now we have the solution, and there are also several professional problems. So now the time is limited. I cannot show you very well, but so and this is our publications. So now the future is now. The future is coming. Actually, our OPA program has offered a special curriculum to the 189 countries, and also was supported by the Olympic hero Professor Vasilis Chrysoras, and that is the education that we should do, and we should make an intervention, and especially in the field of a National Olympic Committee for 189 countries. And then the Iceland was our role model. Yeah, if our role model, young people, if they commit suicide, and our society will follow. So that's the reason we focus on the role model, on Olympic athlete and also film star and so on. This is also our working focus. So for the young people, we do just a very small contribution. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Zhu. Thank you for sharing with us a different angle how to see crime. And I would love it, and I'm interested to know more for your work. But because of time, so let's pass now to our final speaker, and is Miss Maha Daiberian. Maha is an international-oriented student and graduate of a peace designer training program in Austria with a Dutch person background and studies across Europe and Middle East. She's bringing a strong multicultural perspective. She speaks 7 languages, wow, and is passionate about diplomacy and international cooperation. Let's welcome Maha.
Thank you. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Maha Daiberian, and I'm profoundly grateful for the opportunity to be here in order to represent Forum d'Honneur. Born in Tehran, raised in Cyprus, and having lived between Europe and the Middle East allowed me to witness something very important. The image we build of other regions is often very different from the reality. I'm currently a student of Florese Institute, and I'm currently based in Geneva and Vienna, although I have studied in Tehran and Cyprus, which has allowed me to witness many cultures, many traditions, and this allowed me to create Forum d'Honneur. Growing up, I saw many young people in Middle East idealize Europe. They believed that simply moving there would automatically improve their lives. However, when some arrived, they faced language barriers, integration challenges, professional competition, and cultural differences they were not prepared for. The gap between expectations and the reality can lead to deep disappointments and wrong decisions. At the same time, when being introduced in Europe as someone born in the Middle East, I sometimes faced assumptions. This shows that misunderstandings exist on both sides. Forum d'Honneur was created to address this mutual gap. The project aligns with Sustainable Development Goal 4, promoting quality education, intercultural understanding, and global citizenship, and with Sustainable Development Goal 16, encouraging dialogue, peaceful exchange, and youth engagement with institutions. The project operates in 3 clear phases. First, interviews. We have begun by interviewing young people from both regions. We ask Middle Eastern youth what they expect life in Europe to look like. We ask European youth what daily life in Europe truly involves: education systems, employment realities, language requirements, and social integration. We also ask Europeans about their perception of Middle East. This phase is about to be completed and wrapped up. To give you two examples, I have selected two young students, firstly Niayesh Hosseini-Nejad, an 18-year-old fashion student from Tehran. She dreams of moving to Europe to build her own fashion brand and collaborate with major designers. On the other hand, we have Muammer Pasic, a 20-year-old international relations student from Bosnia-Herzegovina. He holds scholarship within Foundation Source of Hope and is an activist on Bosnian Youth Council, and wants to continue to intensify his work within international relations. Their ambitions are powerful and inspiring. However, during our discussion, we also address practical realities: language fluency, market competition, networking, and the time required to succeed. The purpose of these interviews is not to discourage dreams, but to prepare them with clarity. At this point, I will present a short video from this interview.
Hello everyone, my name is Muammer Pasic and I'm currently a first-year International Relations and European Studies student studying right here in Sarajevo.
Hi, my name is Niayesh Hosseini-Nejad.
Have you experienced misunderstandings because of different communication styles or expectations? So I think that the biggest misunderstandings for newcomers almost always stem from communication styles, particularly the contrast between some type of diplomatic politeness and European directness. So many international professionals come from cultures where feedback is heavily cushioned and it's said so with a positive language in order to save face and not to offend anyone. While in Europe, on the other hand, I think that communication is a lot more literal and a lot more direct. So if a colleague, for example, disagrees with a proposal, they will say so plainly without any heavy cushioning. And I think that maybe newcomers see it as a sign of hostility or a sign of rudeness, when in reality locals just view it as a sign of professional respect and of efficiency.
Okay, Niayesh, what do you think is different in Europe compared to the Middle East when it comes to people and their culture?
I think Europe is more individualistic, while the Middle East is more family-oriented.
Are there any cultural norms here that locals never question but newcomers always notice? I think that there are several deep-seated norms that locals follow automatically, but which stand out to any newcomer. And the first one is the absolute respect for public rule. And an example that's best taken for this, I think, are pedestrian crosswalks, because you can be walking in the middle of an empty street at 2 a.m. in the middle of the night, and you're going to see a group of people patiently waiting for their light to turn green so they can cross. Second one is, I think, an unquestioned acceptance of formal bureaucracy. So whether you're dealing with a visa, you're dealing with a bank, you're dealing with housing problems, I think that there is a strong preference of official physical letters and precise documentation that can be followed, especially procedure that can be followed. And I think that newcomers often find this very slow or maybe even outdated in a digital world. But I think that locals view it as a necessary framework that ensures fairness, privacy, and legal certainty.
How do you think going to Europe will improve your education?
Studying in Europe will help me learn from different styles, improve my skills, and gain new experiences that will support my career.
With the first phase coming to an end, we are already preparing to reset focus on our second phase by mid-June. The opening event for this second phase will take place at Tehran. It will be first in a series of events where we bring participants like Niayesh and Muammer into diplomatic spaces in partnership with embassies. These structured forums allow youth from both regions to engage in direct, respectful dialogue. Instead of relying on social media narratives, they exchange perspectives face-to-face within institutional environments. After these gatherings, the third and final phase will start. It involves bringing Middle Eastern youth to Europe and the European youth to Middle East to experience daily life firsthand, not as tourists, but as observers of real system, universities, workplaces, social structures, and cultural norms. This understanding will hopefully transform their assumptions into lived understanding. The impact of Forum d'Honneur is fourfold: youth empowerment through realistic expectations, strengthened intercultural literacy, diplomatic engagement between youth leaders and institutions, and creation of long-term cross-region networks. Ultimately, no young person should feel they have failed simply because their expectations were unrealistic, and no culture should be judged based on incomplete narratives. Forum d'Honneur seeks for profoundly educated, gallant, and globally aware future leaders. Thank you.
In behalf of AIYSP Europe and Middle East, I thank you first to our speakers for their valuable contribution, and then I thank you to every one of you that was part of this event. Thank you so much.